All right, so appreciate. I'm going to talk about controlled opposition for a brief second. I'm talking about Billy Carson, Billy C. This isn't Billy Carson. This guy hasn't mentioned Billy Carson, but Billy Carson does speak to something called Thoth or Thoth, the Thoth, Thoth the Atlantean. And when you think about Atlantis and you look into what we knew about Atlantis before people started shopping around an adult fairy tale, it's a secondhand account that was handed to Plato, allegedly. Remember, Plato also was part of the Pythagorean cult. And this is why you and I, or the public sphere, was taught bits and pieces of lesser magic, but we weren't taught the secret teachings. So you really got to question this story about how there was a secondhand account about Atlantis to begin with. Just the same, in the account, you can look this up, but people don't do it apparently. There is no mention of Thoth or Thoth or Toth, the Atlantean. There's also no mention of Atlantis founding the Egyptian culture. No mention whatsoever. And every single fucking thing I've ever read and found having to do with the Emerald Tablets is horseshit. It's all an adult fairy tale. I have not found a true account of that. Maybe I missed it in the slush pile of shit. It's possible. Maybe there's an antique route that reflects that, but I have not found it. So have yourself a listen to this.
Who's this? Who's Doriel? Has anyone ever seen these emerald tablets of Thoth the Atlantean? I know about these. Many people translated the emerald tablets of Hermes, the one that Manly P. Hall talking about right here. Many people done translated.
Now let's think about this. Manly Palmer Hall was not only a Freemason, he worked for our masters as controlled opposition. This is why you will never be taught something in terms of grassroots that actually reflect reality and you can use as a tool. Ever. When you go through the Manly Palmer Hall seminars or lectures or whatever, however you want to think of it. Keep in mind, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, his book. It has quite a few archetypes and a number of points in there that people will gloss right over because no one's building this shit up. Don't trust me, but based on what I've spent time and energy on, and I know that's pretty wishy-washy. If you run through what I've left online, which most people don't, if you did, you would appreciate what I'm getting at. People don't have a fucking clue. They don't have the first fucking clue. And that's why you can run through books like that or listen to Manly Palmer Hall's lectures and you won't pick up on the things that are behind what he's actually saying. Because he doesn't actually openly state things in a superficial way. It's not on the surface. But superficial people repeat superficial things. Superficial people appreciate superficial things. And so goes the slush pile of the circle jerk that is the truth community.
Translated that Isaac Newton, Madame Blavatsky, Idris Shah, but Thoth is Hermes, okay? The Emerald Tablets of Hermes are short. It's a book on philosophy, like as above, so below. You know what I'm saying? Little maxims. This thing gives you all types of weird stories and weird histories on some tablets that's nobody ever seen, like the Joseph Smith Mormon tablets. Can somebody provide these tablets for us? Can someone show us this? There's just a story that people making up. This is really weird to me. I'd love to get some extra information. Doriel says he's the supreme voice of this brotherhood, some great white brotherhood that has these tablets. Where'd you get them from? Can I see them? Can anybody see them? No, no one can see them. You just gonna make a translation of them? Other people gonna make books and get paid off of these books about it? Really weird. I'd love to see it. Please, someone enlighten me about the real Emerald Tablet.
So unfortunately, this guy's chasing a rabbit hole. And the internet is full of these. Our masters seed their, what I call the official narratives, which is the superficial fluff that people repeat and they consider truth. It's crap. It is fucking garbage. It is absolute garbage. And people will waste their lives on this shit. I used to joke around the old days about It's just as good as chasing structures on the moon with Richard C. Hoagland, or looking for fucking crop circles. Was it? No, it's not David Hatcher Childress. I'm trying to remember who used to promote that crap. I guess you could think in terms of Stephen Greer in the Disclosure Project, which is funded and moderated by the Rockefeller Trust and originally Hillary Clinton. But again, people don't look into this because people don't research. They regurgitate. They repost. These days, it's worse than ever before. They only care about what pops up in their feed, where they were spoon-fed something to repeat. Yeah. How many people are following this? I mean, he's still got 2,000 people. And knowingly or otherwise, he's misleading folks. Just by posting that crap. Just by leaving that on there. I also see some space propaganda in here. This is me just superficially dancing through his account for a second. Just to see what's in here. You know, at a blush. I see Biden stuff, which means he's probably polarizing people. I am assuming on that note. But if you're worried about Democrats and Republicans, you don't have the first fucking clue in terms of the most superficial thing you could ever figure out. Politics and how stuff works. And if you did, you would figure out here. I'll rattle it off again because I usually do. The Republic, you know, which is what For the People, by the People stood for. It fell during the Civil War and was finalized in 1871 when the Organic Act was put in place, creating the District of Columbia. That means that America, in all capital letters, became a corporation. You picking up what I'm putting down? Because most people don't know that. Then by 1913, the Federal Reserve was introduced, and it was done so under the pretense of being temporary. However, is it temporary? Temporary? I mean, it's voluntary, but everybody bought into it, so it still stands. And if you don't do what they want, they will impose sanctions. Yeah. So 1913, we all became debt slaves. That's the point. And somebody you should look up who has since passed away for whatever reason is John McAfee, the guy that gave us the antivirus software. He didn't pay those unconstitutional taxes, and then he started stepping on toes. And then the corporation known as the District of Columbia, the bottom of the trilateral city-states, went after him. And then eventually he mysteriously died. Yeah, something to think about. And it's something you could look up. And I've left a couple video clips having to do with him in my YouTube, and next to no one has seen those clips because what reflects reality and things that would benefit you and I, because it's a symbiotic system, are typically censored these days and not shown in your feed. You have to click on somebody's profile and you have to go through the information, which means you have to be invested, which means you're involved, which means you have to have grit and put in the time and energy. And people are lazy, superficial, and utterly slow these days because that's the adventure they chose. By design. Keep in mind, we're all being manipulated, but you can choose better. You could change your life. You could do the right thing, but most people assume that they are, and they, again, think that they have the truth because that's the superficial shit in your feed, and that's what you're told. It's positive vibes only, and this is the answer. Even though our masters are misleading us and poisoning us at every bend, why would they fucking teach you something worthwhile that you could use as a tool? But people still believe in the flat earth and the globe theory. It's asinine. And it's because they're too lazy to build it up and figure it out. And the same applies to the Emerald Tablets and what people speak to. Yeah. As always, what the fuck do I know? If you hung out, thanks for hanging out. This is me knocking out another rant on the internet that most people probably won't fucking see. But then again, it does have Thoth the Atlantean and the Emerald Tablets. So because the superficial shit is in here, TikTok might show you this. It might. If the auditory algorithms don't flag me for a hate speech or something else, absolutely arbitrary. Before I go, I just want to stress this too. Freedom of speech has nothing to do with community guidelines whatsoever. And community guidelines would not exist if we stood up for ourselves, if it was for the people, by the people, and we had drawn a line in the sand. But these days, I see videos that are displaying for educational purposes only. You don't have to state that. You shouldn't be stating that. And when people are dead, slaughtered, killed, murdered, Those are the words you use. You don't use the social engineering jargon.